Sunday, the Rolex Sports Car Series returns to Laguna Seca, home of the treacherous corkscrew. Strap in, because this is going to be intense. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series from Laguna Seca Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed, your motorsports authority. Let's go trackside to Ray.
Well, Cole Witt has climbed out of his Red Bull Chevrolet. As we looked at the replays, Cole, it looked awfully close to you being able to save that. How did it feel from the driver's seat?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't even know what happened. I wish I could see a replay or something, but I mean, I felt like I gave him plenty of racing room. I mean, he run me up the, yeah, I guess here it is. Let's see. I mean, I feel like coming up off it too, he run me up the hill, and then, yeah, and then down in 3 and 4, looks like he just got loose up underneath me, which is, you know, something that happens with these trucks. I mean, we're racing hard, so it sucks it has to end like that. Our truck was rebounding good and had a great run going for this Red Bull Field Doctor Chevrolet. You know, it's a shame. We got some work ahead of us.
Have you seen how much damage there is? Will you be able to get back out?
Yeah, but I mean, it ain't going to do nothing for us. I mean, we're going to get back out there and get a few laps, but it is what it is. I just wish we could have got the finish we deserve.
Came in 20 points out. This is going to be a big hit for him, guys.
The bad part is his worst 3 finishes of 2011 have all come in the last 3 races. That team was really doing some nice stuff, and they'll be back. That's a strong team and a great young driver.
You almost have to sit here and scratch your head for a second and think, okay, the 53-year-old made the mistake and the 20-year-old was the one who was in the right on this one.
Well, that's certainly what you could surmise by that, Rick, but also, you know, you sort of know that a guy that's down on the bottom has a tendency to maybe get a little bit loose. And while I don't think Cole did anything wrong, that was one of those situations where Ron just had to get away from him a little bit. It wasn't anything out of whack that Ron did. He just got a little bit loose, and when he did, there wasn't any margin for error. So I agree with you 100%. I think Ron forced the issue a little bit early in the race. It didn't work out. That has to be, you know, if you're going to blame somebody, you got to blame Ron for that.
But I think what you're saying is that maybe with a little more experience, Cole would have recognized that and possibly given him the extra room, again, because we're only halfway at that point in the race.
Well, I think you're exactly, that's what I'm saying, Phil. It was avoidable, but on either part. Cole might have said, well, Ron was pretty aggressive off 2. I know Ron pretty good. He's probably going to be pretty aggressive in 3. Maybe I just roll up and give him a little bit more room.
Let's hear from Hornet A's with Hermie.
Ron, restart's tough on this racetrack. Tell us what happened.
My own fault. We just got in there and I shattered the tires and I was out of gas and he just sucked me around, and it's a shame. The Chevrolet was decent. We were making it better every time. So got to thank Kroger and everybody, Hunt's Brother Pizza. It's been a lot of help, but we definitely did need that. We weren't the best truck, but I mean, we were just trying to hang on. Maybe we get a top 5, but we were just loose in, shattering tires in the middle, and that time it just stuck pretty good, and I drove her in there and just lost the nose and got up into the 60, and he sucked me around.
That's Ron Hornaday. Back to you, Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. Field all in line once again. Kyle Busch on the outside. On the inside, Johnny Sauter. Green flag back in the air.
You know, we sit up here and tried to explain it, and Cole and Ron explained it about like we did. Everybody sort of agrees.
Yeah, it's pretty much what happened.
They stay side by side for the lead.
Look at the run that Parker Kligerman's got off too.
On the inside, going to pull up a sider. Johnny Sauter.
Kligerman trying to make it 3 wide for the lead. He drops back to the 3rd spot now as Austin Dillon looks to the outside of him for that 3rd spot.
Maybe the first time we've seen Austin up on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it's the first time he's been that close to the front since we threw the green flag earlier tonight. And I tell you, I like this 3 truck. I like the things that he can do with that thing. I believe he might be the guy we got to beat to win this race in the second half.
I'm telling you, that 8 truck, keep an eye on that 8 truck of Nelson Piquet Jr. He's right now running back in the 7th spot. That truck looks awfully good like it did earlier.
We saw there Parker Kligerman running the low line. Johnny Sauter put at least a lane between the two as they were going through turns 1 and 2. Gave him plenty of room as he was down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, Johnny's a very seasoned veteran. He's won races in the Nationwide Series. He's won races in this series. He's had a lot of experience in the Cup Series. That may be exactly what we were talking about.
Now, when you get down to 10 to go, you quit. You start squeezing that down a little bit more and more.
You give no more room.
So Johnny Sauter running in the 2nd spot behind Kyle Busch. Parker Kligerman holds on to the 3rd position. Austin Dillon and Miguel Paludo, your top 5.
That's a name that keeps coming up when you talk about the top 5. Miguel Paludo, really impressed with the job he's done of understanding these trucks and getting really competitive.
Justin Lofton, that 46 truck, we caught a glimpse of him, moved over it back to Eddie Sharp Racing, the team he had so much success with in the ARCA series, has a good run going right now, running inside the top 10.
Lofton in the 9th position. Bodine just behind him in the top 10.
Right along with Steve Arpin here. He slides up the hill. So fun watching these guys bounce around these turns, isn't it?
Here's that truck, that 8 truck we were talking about just a moment ago.
A couple of Brazilians there.
Don't overdrive the catch.
Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 8.
Nice and smooth, plenty of time here.
Able to go by the 7 of Miguel Paludo.
2 of them.
Jason White, the 23 truck, pulls in right behind the 7 of Paludo. And there's Joey Coulter. Joey's had a strong truck. He was one of the trucks that had to pit under green, took the wave around, trying to make his way back towards the front.
Looked like Parker Kligerman had a faster truck than Johnny Sauter on the restart, but Johnny's got that thing lined out now, and he's driving up on the tailgate of Kyle Busch. What's he saying inside that truck, Ray? You heard?
Yeah, while we were under caution there, Michael, he came on and said, look, guys, I was so loose at the beginning, I wouldn't give you a 25% chance of us winning this race, but now I think it's about a 90% chance. He said, obviously, there's a couple other really good trucks out there, but I think we're in the running. He said, it's just such a fine line, and that little bit of adjustment really helped me a lot through the center of the corners.
63 laps of racing to go, so plenty of racing still on the racetrack.
And another pit stop coming for everybody as well. Here's Elliott Sadler. Elliott came down on pit road this last caution flag, put 4 tires on. He's making his way back up towards the front. He's moved into the top 10 as well.
You know, we talked about Elliott Sadler losing all that track position. He's been able to battle back up inside the top 10, but it's a long road back to the front when you give up all that track position, especially, you know, just almost halfway through the event when that all happened to Elliott.
Yeah, and amazingly enough, Nelson Piquet Jr., who was also one of those 4 trucks that had the wave around, he's been able to make his way up through this field. He's already into the top 5.
He did not come down pit road, though, on that last caution like Elliott did.
And, you know, I was also interesting, as experienced as Elliott Sadler is, it looked like when those 2 trucks were out front, when they would get to traffic, Nelson Piquet Jr. was working the traffic good. He could close in on Elliott Sadler, so he has some savvy about getting around these trucks in traffic, which has helped him to make his way back up inside the top 5.
Here's a good shot of the Georgia boot, number 30 of Top O'Nine, right there running behind Elliott Sadler. There's Steve Arpin, jumps to the inside in the 32 truck.
Looked like Elliott Sadler was off the pace down the back for some reason. Might got a little high off 2 or something. They closed on him awful fast.
They certainly did. Elliott's back to the 10th spot, actually lost a couple positions.
Really loose right now. There's the only entry to the middle. We're going to take just hang on to it. Hang on to it.
Really loose right now.
That's so painful, especially, seems like this track, especially there isn't a whole lot of banking when you drive off into the corner, and if you're loose, nothing to hold you, Ray.
And Michael, you were talking about one more pit stop coming up. What I think's interesting is we've had a lot of different strategies down here on pit road tonight. And Bruce Cook was just telling Elliott Sadler, we're going to give you 2 tires and fill it full of fuel, which will give you a little bit more nose weight. And that's going to help your truck all the way through the end. Now realize some of our guys down here put on 4, like Austin Dillon, who you see on the left side of your screen. They didn't want to put on 4, but they did. So guys, my question is, on that last pit stop, do you go gas only?
Well, it just depends on what your truck's doing. I believe, Phil, that the tires are good enough. You could go gas only. But if you're a little bit tight, maybe you do put in some gas, more gas than you really need in order to try to get some more rear weight to that thing to try to get it to turn better in the corners. That Ray, is what those guys are all talking about down there. 2 tires make it tighter than 4. Or what does it do if we put in more gas than we need to change our ballast in our truck? That's all the things that a crew chief has to try to figure his way through.
And sometimes they want to put tires on just to make the air pressure adjustment.
Tom Bodine trying to get by Elliott Sadler on the right of your screen. Battle for the 10th position.
Elliott Sadler is not happy right now. That thing's, you can tell right there, as it gets a little bit loose, he lets off the gas, and watch them come after him.
And he has as fresh of tires as anybody in the field right now. He put tires on his last pit stop.
Nelson Piquet Jr. takes 3rd away from Parker Kligerman.
Look at the run that Austin gets when those trucks are running side by side. They're punching such a big hole in the air.
Kligerman drops back.
Don't overdrive the catch here. You will drive it away.
Very impressive run by Nelson Piquet Jr. See if Austin can get that truck to continue to work at the bottom like it has been. Another guy working at the bottom, Johnny Sauter, trying to take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch is running that second lane or about 2.5 lanes up from the bottom, really making it work. He really gets the momentum up off the corner. Had to pull down to the inside that time to get around Clayton Rogers.
Clay Rogers in the 92.
Plays back in the 23rd spot.
23rd position. He's a lap down. We have 19 on the lead lap. Running 19th, Ricky Carmichael. It is Kyle Busch and Johnny Sauter pacing the field in Kentucky. No change at the top of the scoring pylon. It is Kyle Busch and Johnny Sauter running 1 and 2. Nelson Piquet Jr. has been looking extremely strong. Austin Dillon and Parker Kligerman are your top 5.
Guys, let's don't forget now, you know where Kyle Busch started, right?
Last. And he's first.
100 laps into the race, and he's been up in first for a number of laps.
But Phil, I think the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place trucks are all faster than Kyle Busch. Lap after lap, they're putting down times that are better than his. They're closing on him. There's Johnny Sauter all over Kyle. I asked you during break, how's he leading this race? There's so many trucks right now faster than him, but when you look at the top of the scoring pylon, it says Kyle Busch. But golly, they're coming.
I think right now, if Johnny Sauter was able to run the line he wanted to run and didn't have Kyle Busch in front of him, he'd drive away from him.
Pull away from the 18 of Kyle Busch. But as you mentioned, Michael, the guys who are really quick, Sauter, Nelson Piquet Jr., Austin Dillon, all 3 of those are continuing to put faster lap times down than Kyle Busch.
Yeah, as is Parker Kligerman. He's back in the 5th spot. He was faster than Kyle too. And you have to drop all the way back to the 7th spot where Joey Coulter rides. He put up the 2nd fastest time in the last lap. So there's a lot of fast trucks that are converging on the front. When they all get there, it's going to be fun.
Kyle Busch has been making that truck extremely wide.
Here comes Johnny Sauter on the outside.
The outside of the racetrack is the place where Sauter will take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Quarter bumper cleared.
Johnny's been working the bottom. Kyle's been higher. He's been in the middle of the racetrack. Johnny Sauter passed him on the outside.
I love that outside momentum. Did you hear the spotter? Quarter bumper clear. I mean, it barely could say it fast enough to tell you how fast Johnny Sauter went past Kyle Busch.
47 to go. Remember, they will have to come to pit road at least one more time.
Look at this battle back for 13th, 14th, 15th, long in there. There's Justin Lofton ahead of Steve Arpin, David Starr, Brendan Gaughan. These guys, I've been watching these guys. They have been all over one another.
Justin had a great run through the center of the corner that last lap, and 1 and 2 was able to clear David Starr.
Johnny Sauter back out in front. 46 laps remain. Kyle Busch, Nelson Piquet Jr., Austin Dillon, and Parker Kligerman. They're your top 5. Jason White, Joey Coulter, Paluto, Sadler, and Bodine your top 10.
You know what's interesting, Phil? We talk about the trucks 5th, 6th, 7th even that are faster than our leaders. We might have to do some pit strategy. We got to do something to get this track position so we can get up there and show how fast our truck is. And the thing that I love, these Goodyear tires these guys are running on, man, they'll last a long time. Maybe we don't even get tires anymore.
That's what's going to allow us to have some pit strategy. We talked about at the very top of the show. That could be one of the keys here. We could see no tires win this race. Well, you're going to have 4 tires on the truck.
No new ones. I knew what you meant.
No new tires. Thank you, Michael.
We were all with you. Side by side, continuing to battle. Nelson Piquet Jr. to the inside of that 18 of Kyle Busch. These 2 racing for the 2nd spot. Nelson Piquet Jr. able to keep the 8 stuck to the bottom of the racetrack, takes the 2nd spot away from Busch.
It took Johnny about 30 laps to get by Kyle Busch, and it took Nelson 1.
And look who's coming next. Austin Dillon will be the next guy that drives up onto the tailgate of Kyle Busch, and there's your top 4 right there.
They're converging.
I told you they were.
Will it end up being pit strategy to determine who will make it to victory lane tonight at Kentucky Speedway? Stay with us. 43 laps to go.